Okay, today I'm going to introduce to you the graphs. Okay, speed time graph. From the speed time graph, you're supposed to get the distance time graph. Alright, first, right, if you notice from the speed time graph down here, what can we say about the speed? If you notice, right, the speed is increasing. Okay, from here, the speed is increasing. So therefore, in the distance time graph, okay, how do we get the speed from a distance time graph? The speed, right, from distance time graph is the gradient of the distance time graph. So if the speed is increasing here, it means that the gradient here must be increasing. So the curve will slope upwards like this. How do I know that the gradient is increasing? If you draw a tangent down here, okay, and you draw another tangent down here, you notice that at each and every moment the gradient is getting steeper, which shows that the speed is increasing. Because as the gradient is increasing, it means that the speed is increasing. Okay, similar idea for the next one that I drawn here. Notice down here, what I can say that my speed is decreasing. Okay, again, from a distance time graph, how do we get speed? Is the gradient. So if speed is decreasing, it means that my gradient must be decreasing over time. So how can I tell that this curve, the gradient is decreasing? If you draw a tangent down here, okay, you notice that this tangent, okay, is steeper than the tangent down here. Notice that this tangent is more steep than this tangent. So the gradient from here to here is actually decreasing, which means that speed is decreasing. If you look down here, alright, it tells us that the speed is constant. Okay, the speed is constant and positive. So therefore, if the speed is constant, it means that we should have a constant gradient here, because the gradient represents the gradient of a distance time graph represents a speed. So you notice a straight line here will represent a constant gradient. Notice that the speed here is positive and the gradient here is positive. There may be examples whereby you will get a situation where speed is negative. Alright, so if my speed is negative, let me draw for you an example down here. Okay, let me draw. Here is speed and time. In this case, if my speed is negative, like this, okay, my distance time graph should be a constant gradient because the speed is constant, so it's a constant gradient. However, if you notice down here, because the speed is negative and the gradient should be negative, so if I were to draw, okay, at the same time here, my gradient of a distance time graph should be a negative and it's a line sloping downwards like this. So in summary, okay, what you need to remember, this is the rough explanation, okay, or the explanation of how to get the distance time graph given a speed time graph. Basically, right, you just need to know this table. Okay, for if the speed time graph, speed is increasing, it means that my distance time graph, my gradient must be increasing, so the shape of the distance time graph will look like this. If my speed time graph shows a straight line like this, it means that my speed is decreasing. It means that the gradient of my distance time graph must be decreasing, so the shape will be like this. For a constant speed, I would have either a positive gradient like this or a negative gradient like that. So you just have to understand how I derive these graphs and memorize this table, and you should be fine for this part.